Hi everybody, here is Fabio, and today is gonna be a quick update on the state of Resto Shaman in the Battle for Azeroth Alpha. We've just had a couple of important changes on the talent side of the build in the Battle for Azeroth Alpha, and I want to cover those. I will not go through all of the other changes that we've already covered in the previous video, so you can go check them out if you've missed them. So I want to, as always, go to the big meat, to the important thing first, Cloud Burst Totem. As you know, I very much care about Cloud Burst Totem, as many other Resto Shaman do, because as we've discussed, this adds preparation, it adds depth to our spec, and it's very important in my opinion and in our opinion that Cloud Burst Totem is saved and it still remain the most powerful talent in the role. If you remember what we've discussed in the first iteration of changes, Cloud Burst Totem went from, here is the live version of the Cloud Burst Totem, went from collecting the 25% of all healing to collecting the 25% of only the effective healing and replacing healing string totem. What I've said in the previous video was that in that version of Cloud Burst Totem, most likely Echo of the Element would be the most powerful talent in the row, and that didn't make sense because Echo of the Element is very easy to be used. It is not a great skill cap and it's not as fun as Cloud Burst Totem. So I strongly recommended for Blizzard to change it, me and many other Resto Shaman, and Blizzard listened to us and they made something in between, because we have an update now and Cloud Burst Totem now comes back to collecting all of the healing, 25% of all healing. This is very important. It still replaces healing string totem, so the talent itself received actually a nerf compared to the live version of it, but still it's very important that it collects all of the healing, because as I was mentioning before, when you can collect also the overheal, and you know that there is a big hit, a big spike of damage that is going to be enter soon, you can willingly do some kind of overheal just to have this burst when the damage enters. This is a tool that it's very useful in Mythic progression. We are not talking about snipe healing. This could be seen as just snipe healing in order to top the meters, but I don't think it's the case. I mean, could be, but most of the time is really save somebody's life, because if you can instantly heal at least a little bit everybody right after the damage enters, it's a very powerful tool in a Mythic progression, and I'm very glad to see it back. Now, it still competes with Echo of the Element, and Echo of the Element is quite strong. It's quite strong if we end up taking Crashing Wave. I mean, it's even stronger if we end up taking crashing waves. Let me discuss for a second this tier because it's tightly related to Echo of the Element. Now here we have Deluge that is no longer competing with Ancestral Guidance, obviously, so we might end up taking Deluge in any stacked up fight. We have the Earth Shield, and Earth Shield received a change in the latest build. The healing power has been nerfed a little bit, and they added a 10% healing amplification on the target that is affected by your Earth Shield. Still not good, not good at all, because the 10% increased healing is not that great. I mean, it is fine as Resto Shaman, but we're not gonna end up being a single target healer because we take this talent, so it doesn't make or break. I think that for single target healing, probably it's better Crushing Wave, you know, for spot healing, 100% taking Crushing Wave. So when we will be taking Earth Shield, in stacked up fight, we're gonna take Deluge, most likely. When there is a spot healing required, it's gonna be Crushing Wave. In the fights where we are not stacked up and there is not spot healing, we might take Earth Shield, basically for the hot component of it. and I'm quite sad. I mean, Earthshield as it is now, still I don't see it as a viable, an important tool in our toolkit department. So as I was saying, Crushing Wave might be useful in a raid environment any time that there is spot healing required. And in those cases, having Crushing Wave together with Echo of the Element might be very important, because we no longer have the double stack of Tidal Wave as we had in Legion. So the Echo of the Element lets you make a better use of Riptide, and also gives you this 10% chance to get your Riptide when you're consuming a Tidal Wave stack. So in those specific fights, I think that we will end up taking the combo Crushing Waves, Echo of the Element, and we will not be taking Cloud Burst Totem, because the difference between Echo of the Element and Cloud Burst Totem is getting very small because of the Cloud Burst Totem replacing the Healing Stream Totem. But when there isn't spot healing required, and maybe we can take Deluge, Cloud Burst Totem should be, actually in the current build, should be more powerful than Echo of the Element. So I'm glad that Cloud Burst Totem should stay with us for most likely most of the fights in Battle for Azeroth. Now, as you can see in this tier, we have also a new, very new addition, a new talent called Downpour. Downpour is simply a talented version of our weapon ability that we had with our artifact during Legion, but it now replaces Healing Rain, which is kind of a big deal. But let's read Downpour for a second. A burst of water at the target location heals up to 6 injured allies within 12 yards for 150% of spell power, which is quite powerful. Cooldown increased by 5 seconds for each target effectively healed. So the base cooldown is only 5 seconds, but it could get to 35 seconds if you are healing 6 allies. I mean, this sounds fun, also because it replaces Healing Rain, so I'm thinking at fights like Avatar. In a fight like Avatar, you're not really taking a great use of Healing Rain. You sometimes don't even cast it unless you wanna feed your Cloud Burst Totem, because the party is all spread out and the melee group is moving all the time. So your Healing Rain is gonna heal for very little. So taking this talent could make sense in that niche application. But in general, I don't think that we will end up taking Downpour a lot, because Healing Rain tends to be quite powerful on its own, and it's competing with two talents that are very powerful, as I was saying before. I mean, in Legion, for example, Cloud Burst Totem could make between 8 and 10% of our overall healing, which is a big chunk. And I don't think that Downpour should be able to compete with those outside of these niche applications. We also have a new talent in row 75, which is called Nature's Guardian, and it's very interesting. When your health is brought below 35%, you're instantly healed for 20% of your maximum health. Cannot occur more than once every 45 seconds. So the first time that I read it, I thought, well, that's not very impactful because it's an underheal. But actually, testing in the alpha, this acts like a shield, basically. If the hit will bring you below 0%, if the hit will kill you, basically, but this heal brings you above 0%, you're not dying. So a single hit that will kill you, it doesn't kill you if this heal is enough to bring you above 0%, so it's great for survivability. I see us taking this talent many times in high mythic classes, for sure, and in many mythic fights where it makes sense to have this additional survivability. Obviously is competing with Graceful Spirit, which is quite powerful for us, especially in a raid environment. So I don't know, we will be taking Graceful Spirit when we can. If we absolutely need extra survivability, we will end up taking Nature's Guardian. I want to also remind you that we are losing the 10% damage reduction when we are casting the Healing String Totem, and it's quite a big deal. It doesn't seem like that, but if you think about it, our survivability together with that ability and the damage reduction in Ghost Wall form and the 20 minutes reincarnation were quite important for the survivability of the rest of Shaman. Another note regarding Graceful Spirit, they removed from it the 10% increased movement speed in Ghost Wall form. Not a big deal, I think. A last note before I close up the video is regarding Wellspring. I mean, they've changed some talents around. In general, I think that they've done a good job, I will say. No, the only thing that I still really don't like is Earth Shield. It should be somehow related to damage reduction or absorption, in my opinion. As it is, it's an additional hot with a 10% healing amp. It will not make us a good single target healer, so I still don't like it at all. But apart from that, I quite like Downpour. If the power level is right, we might take it in some niche circumstances. Wellspring is still bad, it's still really bad, and it's the same of Legion, so we've not been able to take Wellspring in any fight throughout the whole Legion. Not a single fight we've been able to say, yes, Wellspring could fit well in this fight. So please, Blizzard, either Wellspring is removed and changed with something else, or it needs some rework. An idea could be to remove the cooldown from it. At least you can not use it at all if there is not damage, not big damage going on, and you will just spam it in a high damage phases. Could make sense if a fight is very much spread out and your chain heal doesn't get to touch all of the targets. So let me know what you think, guys. I'm very relieved. Relieved is the word that I was searching for the change to Cloud Burst Totem, because I absolutely love the gameplay of Cloud Burst Totem. I love to be able to prepare to do things in advance, because I know that the damage is going to be entering. So I'm very glad to see Cloud Burst Totem back. It should be viable, it should be better than Echo the Elements in a normal fight. If there is high spot healing requirement, Echo the Element will be better in my opinion. Otherwise, Cloud Burst Totem will be the way to go. Since we are talking about talent, let's take a look at what will probably be the dungeon build. The most powerful in the first row will be Ondulation, most likely, as it is now in Legion. You could definitely take Torrent. There is a very small difference in throughput, and it is more instant heal. So many Resto Shaman prefer Torrent over Ondulation. I'm picking Ondulation, but it's fine. It's really fine to take either of those. Crushing Wave is gonna be super duper important, because in Mythic Plus we are spamming Healing Wave and Healing Surge, so Crushing Waves will be very important, and we will never take Earth Shield in my opinion. In row 45 is gonna be a competition between Static Charge and Spirit Wolf. I think that I don't know, it depends on the affixes. We might take Static Charge or Spirit Wolf. I'm picking Spirit Wolf for the moment. Row 16, most likely Ancestral Vigor in Dungeon is quite a valuable tool. Natural Guardian is very interesting. Echo of the Element and Ascendance. So very much straightforward. We have some choices here that are very interesting. On the other hand, in a classic mythic encounter, we will be taking Torrent, Deluge, Spirit Wolf, Earthen Wall Totem, Graceful Spirit, Cloud Burst Totem, and High Tide. This is the ideal build. So I will keep you updated with any news, any important change that occurs in the Battle for Azeroth Alpha. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!